Ah, Alien. It's the quintessential sci-fi horror movie about a group of people trapped in the endless depths of space, being picked off one after another by a monstrous creature lurking in the shadows of their vast ship. A monster they can't escape, fight, or reason with. It was a masterclass in atmospheric horror and brooding tension, not to mention some incredible creature effects that are still unsettling even today. When James Cameron took over for the inevitable sequel, he successfully retained the fear factor of the original movie while injecting a welcome dose of gung-ho 1980s action, giving us one of the greatest sci-fi action movies in cinematic history. Nice work, Jim. But then David Fincher came along and shat out Alien 3, a relentlessly grim and bleak movie that destroyed the fragile optimism at the end of the last film, killed off the star of the franchise, and somehow gave us a creature that looked worse than the one from 13 years earlier. The fourth film, directed by some French guy I can't pronounce, was a haphazard attempt to merge elements from all three movies, ultimately adding nothing smart or interesting to the franchise. And don't get me started on the Alien vs Predator movies. The point is that by the early 2010s, the franchise was in trouble. There hadn't been a good movie in 25 years. Every attempt to reboot the series had failed miserably, and nobody seemed to know how to fix it. Then came the announcement that Ridley Scott was returning to direct a brand new Alien prequel titled Prometheus. Holy shit, we all thought. Ridley Scott was the guy that started the whole franchise, and he'd gone on to direct some incredible movies in his career. If anyone could restore Alien to its former glory, it was him. And then we watched it. I suppose I should try to summarize the plot so you can understand just how badly this film goes wrong. Prometheus kicks off with a big lumpy albino bodybuilder getting dropped off on a primordial Earth by a giant black space dildo. The place is bleak and barren and entirely devoid of intelligent life, a bit like Glasgow on a Sunday morning. Then he drinks a really dodgy shot that makes his body melt and he falls off a waterfall and dies. Shit man, I thought I was a hardcore drinker. Flash forward to the late 21st century and a bunch of scientists led by Lisbeth Salander are on some Scottish island in the middle of nowhere, and what they find is absolutely shocking. No, not that. I'm talking about a map painted on the wall of the cave, pointing to a distant planet with absolutely no information about its purpose or its meaning. So naturally, Lisbeth decides the map is an invitation and she wants to go there and just see what happens. And when someone quite rightly questions what she's basing that on, she's like, "Because I believe." Well, I'm convinced. So anyway, Guy Pearce shows up in really bad old man makeup as Wayland. Remember the Wayland-Yutani Corporation, everyone? To finance the expedition to the alien bodybuilder planet. That's nice. I'm sure he doesn't have some shady ulterior motive that'll be revealed later in the movie. So anyway, off they go in a ship called the Prometheus. Clever stuff, Ridley. The Prometheus is captained by Idris Elba, who spends most of the movie looking like he doesn't know or care why he's here. There's an android named David to do all the science stuff, and Charlize Theron is there to represent Wayland, who died of boredom or something. So they land on the planet, and there's no sign of life, but there is an abandoned alien base nearby, and it seems like the air inside it is breathable, so they just go right ahead and take their helmets off, because I guess deadly viruses, toxic spores, or microscopic bacteria aren't things you need to worry about. I've got a bad feeling about this. Then they find a big room with ominous looking containers everywhere, and there's a fossilized alien bodybuilder that got his head chopped off by a fucking door. And then this ginger science guy gets scared of a dead body that's been lying there for thousands of years, and he's like, "I think we ought to leave." But Lisbeth is like, "Nah, it'll be fine." So Ginger Science Guy runs away with some other asshole, and then David helps himself to one of the containers, even though he has no idea what's inside, and it could just as easily be a bomb that could destroy the Prometheus and kill everyone on board. And oh no, there's a convenient storm on the way, so the team evacuates back to the Prometheus, but Ginger Science Guy's map reading skills are worse than your average Tumblr user, and he manages to get lost robust despite having a complete holographic layout of the entire complex, not to mention constant radio contact with people who could literally walk him through the journey step by step. How exactly did you get this job anyway? Meanwhile, Lisbeth and the other idiots are messing around with the alien bodybuilder's head, and they discover it's got human DNA in it. Whatever could this mean? Anyway, they stick a power plug in its ear and bring it back to life, because I guess that's the thing you can do with a decapitated head that's been dead for thousands of years. But then it starts screaming and they lock it in a cupboard and it blows up. What the fuck? Anyway, some asshole named Holloway is down in his sorrows because he didn't get to meet any live aliens, even though they've literally just made the greatest scientific discovery in human history, and the technology they've uncovered here will keep the world's finest minds occupied for decades. David's had enough of his shit, so he spikes Holloway's drink with some black alien jizz from the stolen container, and then Holloway goes off and has sex with Lisbeth. I hope this doesn't have horrifying repercussions for both of them later. While all this is going on, Ginger Science Guy and his mate are scratching their arses when Idris Elba spots something on the motion sensors, and they're freaking out, but he's like, nah, it'll be fine, lads. And he leaves to bone Charlize Theron because he thinks she's an android. This is real, this is stuff which happens in this movie. Then an alien vagina snake shows up and this idiot tries to pet it like it's a fucking dog or something. Remember, these are the same guys who were terrified of a fossilized alien head. What are you doing, you absolute tool? Why are you not running in the opposite direction as fast as your science legs can carry you? But then it all goes wrong and they both lie down for a while. So the storm passes and the team goes looking for the two idiots, but then Holloway starts to mutate from the black alien jizz, and Charlize Theron is like, I'll handle this, and she torches him with a fucking flamethrower. How do you like your men, Lisbeth? Extra crispy, thanks. But then Lisbeth isn't feeling too good either, so she goes to the medical bay for a checkup with David, and it turns out that Holloway impregnated her with the black alien jizz before, you know. Now, I'm no doctor, but how exactly is this thing growing so fast inside her without using up a corresponding amount of organic tissue from the host body? Ah, whatever. David tells her to just go with it, and she's like, nah, it won't be fine. So she runs away and gets on an automatic surgical bed, which for some reason isn't programmed for female anatomy. Patriarchy! And uses it to cut out the alien squid thing. Then she locks it in the room. A room with no sources of nutrition that a living creature could use to grow and sustain itself. Keep that fact in mind, my friends. Then she runs into Wayland, who's actually still alive. Well, as alive as old people can be, I suppose. He faked his death for, reasons, and he financed the whole mission so he could come here and ask the alien bodybuilder to stop him dying of old age. What the actual mothering fuck? This is what you gambled everything on? A trip halfway across the galaxy to a planet that might have been destroyed, abandoned, or never even existed? Why would an alien species even be remotely interested in saving one old man they've never met before? What makes you think they're even capable of helping you? If all you want to do is live longer, why not just put your body into stasis and wait for human medical technology to advance? Fuck off, film. Oh, and it turns out that Charlize Theron is his daughter. I was able to put this together using all the subtle clues the movie drops.
Father.
What kind of dialogue is this? Who exactly calls their dad father in 2019? Never mind 2091. Now, while all this shit's going on, Ginger Science Guy suddenly shows up outside the Prometheus. Like, the movie just hard cuts and he's there all of a sudden. Nobody sees him approaching even though it's broad daylight. No sensors detect movement or anything. Idris Elba just stops not giving a shit for long enough to spot him on a video camera. Wow, the security around this ship is fucking magnificent. And like the gormless tools that they are, the red shirt crew open the door to mess with him. But it turns out he's now a mutated zombie Ginger Science Guy. What the fuck is this? Mutated zombie ginger guy goes on a rampage and kills a bunch of people, but then someone runs him over with a big fucking truck, and then Idris Elba sets him on fire, so he's totally dead now. What exactly was the point in this scene? It's just so weird and out of place, like it should have happened much earlier in the movie, but the editing guy got coked out of his mind and just jammed it in wherever he felt like it. Haven't we all, mate? Where's Ginger Science Guy been all this time? What exactly was he mutating into? Does he have a squid baby inside him like Lisbeth did? Why does he look like Harry and the Hendersons? Whatever. So David and Wayland head out to the alien base, and Lisbeth goes with them despite the very obvious evidence that both men have withheld vital information about the mission and are almost certainly responsible for several deaths, including Holloway's. And they allow her to go with them, despite the fact that she just survived the alien squid baby, doesn't trust them one bit, and will definitely try to derail their plans. But oh well, the script needs it to happen, so whatever, I guess. So they go into the underground base that's actually a giant spaceship, and David wakes up one of the alien bodybuilders that's still in hibernation and asks it to make Wayland young again. But it's like, nah, I've got more important things to do, mate. So it kills Wayland and it rips David's head off, and then it starts to power up the spaceship, and Lisbeth magically knows that it's heading to Earth to wipe out humanity. Really? Like, why? This thing's been asleep for thousands of years. It has no knowledge or even understanding of the current situation. Wouldn't its first priority be to figure out how long it's been asleep and catch up on current events? I mean, for all it knows, Earth might not even exist now. Also, what's with all this technology remaining fully functional after sitting idle for thousands of years? I struggled to get my car started after a 2-week vacation. Whatever. So Idris Elba rams the Prometheus into the spaceship because I guess autopilot isn't a thing in the future. Where have I seen this before? Then it crashes to the ground and rolls like a fucking giant donut, and it crushes Charlize Theron because the concept of running sideways is too mind-blowing for her to comprehend. But then the alien bodybuilder climbs out of the wreckage and it comes after Lisbeth. Really? Like, why? He totally didn't give a shit about her like 10 seconds ago, and he has no reason to waste his time with her now. But we've got to have that final showdown, am I right? So the girl with the surgical tattoo lures him into the medical pod from earlier, where a giant squid monster makes violent one-sided love to the alien bodybuilder. Wow, lucky it was able to magically grow from a baby squid into Cthulhu in the space of a couple hours. So anyway, she collects David's robot head, which is somehow still fully functional despite being disconnected from its power source, and uses it to pilot another giant alien space donut to the bodybuilder's homeworld, so she can ask them a bunch of questions that'll never get answered. And that's it. That is the plot of Prometheus. What a nightmare this movie is. From the muddled ideas it tries to put across, to the nonsensical plot riddled with coincidences, conveniences, and out-of-sequence events, to the low-functioning autism of most of the characters, it's just a disaster in every way. There's absolutely no payoff to anything. Nothing that gets set up has any answers or resolutions. It's the cinematic equivalent of watching a stoner staring off into space while sitting in a puddle of his own urine. Even the concept of this movie was all wrong. Want to know what happened before the events of Alien? Want to know where exactly the xenomorphs came from? What the space jockey was? And how that derelict spaceship ended up crashing on that planet? No, I fucking didn't, and I bet most other people didn't either. Alien was compelling and interesting because it didn't try to answer these questions. It was an effective horror movie because it combined the genuinely unsettling and truly alien creature with our primal and instinctive fear of the unknown. It didn't try to ask grand, pretentious questions about the nature of human existence, the origins of life, or the conflict between science and religion because it didn't need to. When the crew of the Nostromo stumbled across the dead body on that alien spacecraft, we didn't need or even want to know what the space jockey was or where it came from. It was enough to know that for all its advanced technology, it had still died at the hands of the alien that would ultimately wipe out the crew of the Nostromo too. The mystery of what exactly happened on that doomed ship was far more compelling than any answers a scriptwriter could actually provide. And as it turns out, we don't even get any fucking answers anyway. This is actually a totally different, but visually identical spaceship crashing into a totally different, but visually identical planet, piloted by a totally different, but visually identical space jockey. Wow, what are the odds? We certainly don't get any answers to the big questions that this movie poses either. So the alien bodybuilders created all human life, eh? Why? For what purpose? And that being the case, why do they now want to kill us all? Prometheus likes to draw comparisons between humans meeting their creators and David interacting with his creators, and both sides coming to the conclusion that the people who created them are total assholes. But it's a ridiculous comparison to try to make. Androids like David were created to perform specific functions aboard ship. They exist to serve and work for humans, despite what this dickhead says.
We made you because we could.
Whereas humans were simply dumped on a rock and left to their own devices for a few million years. And yet the minute the alien bodybuilder meets one of his own creations, he instantly decides to wipe out the entire species. It seems only reasonable to ask why. But it's not just the big philosophical questions that get left unanswered. This movie even leaves simple logical plot points hanging wide open. What were these alien bodybuilders running from in the hologram recording? A xenomorph? A squid baby? A vagina snake? The black goo? Then if so, why were they running into the room where the black goo was stored? Which brings me to another question. What the fuck is with the aliens in this film? The original movie had a simple, logical and well-defined life cycle for the xenomorph. You started off with a basic egg with a facehugger inside, which impregnates anyone who gets too close. Then a day or two later... It's simple but horrific, and it's easy to follow. Now what the hell have we got? There's the black goo, the vagina snakes, the mutated zombie ginger science guy, the squid babies, and whatever this thing's meant to be. And I've got no idea how any of these different life forms relate to each other. Is the vagina snake like a facehugger? Can the zombie ginger science guy mutate into a xenomorph? What would the squid baby turn into if you left it for long enough? None of these things make any sense. Trying to pick apart this plot logically is like trying to find a gender studies graduate that weighs less than a metric ton. The casting is another bone of contention for me. The original Alien had a cast of quirky, interesting character actors who fit perfectly with the truck drivers in space atmosphere that Scott was going for. None of them were particularly fit or heroic looking because they didn't need to be. They look like real, jaded, working class people doing a job that no one else probably wanted. Now, of course, everyone has to be young and beautiful and totally uninteresting. Charlize Theron is a top-class actress, and she's proven she can handle strong characters in her time, but she's an absolute plank of wood here, with nothing approaching charisma or screen presence. Idris Elba spends most of the movie looking like he totally doesn't want to be there, probably because they forced him to do a shitty American accent, and I suspect Noomi Rapace was only cast because she was flavour of the month after doing Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. She certainly doesn't bring much to the main role. She's not striking or interesting like Sigourney Weaver was, although Jesus Christ, anything's better than this charisma void from Alien Covenant. Also, to my dying day, I'll never understand why they covered Guy Pearce in latex when there's plenty of actual old people they could have cast instead. So is there anything positive I can say about this film? It looks good, I guess. And by good, I mean there's some passable landscape shots scattered around. What was your favourite scene? The grey primordial Earth, the grey Scottish island, or the grey planet the Prometheus lands on? When I try to sum up the train wreck that is Prometheus, I'm reminded of the words of one of the greatest thinkers of our time. The only thing worse than a fool is a fool who thinks himself wise. Ultimately, Prometheus is a dumb, muddled, inconsistent mess, trying in vain to hide its shortcomings behind a mask of pretentious intellectualism. It's a movie whose heavy philosophical ideas are totally incompatible with its subject matter, not to mention far beyond the ability of its dumbass script to properly address. The only good thing to come out of this debacle is that it reminded me just how good the original Alien was. And that film came out 40 years ago. God, I hate movies. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.